Hello friends, it's Kayla. Welcome to my weekend vlog. We're on a little weekend getaway, driving about 5 hours east of the Okanagan into the Kootenays. We've never been here together as a family. And we're staying in this weird little cabin cottage dome thing on the river. I did a video last summer where I read the books that were in my Airbnb. This time I'm just bringing books with me. I brought a weird book with me to my weird Airbnb. If you like this style of video, Gavin actually just did a video recently where he stayed in like a spooky cabin and read spooky books. I did actually bring some spooky books with me because I'm planning on doing a couple things. So one is I'm going to read my 100th book of the year, and I decided on my weird one for my weird weekend globe dome house. It's called Fever Dream by Samantha Schweblin. I've heard it's strange. I really don't understand the plot. Something to do with a woman and not her son. It's a ghost story for the real world, a love story, and a cautionary tale. A psychological menace of a book, apparently. So this is what I'm gonna read. This is my number one plan. I'm gonna read this today. We're just driving now. And I'm also gonna stop at some bookstores and maybe little free libraries along the way, hoping to find some other spooky, weird kind of things. As I was leaving the house though, I got this package and I don't remember what's in it, but I think it's some weird books. So let's find out what I brought with me. The mail just arrived as I was leaving the house and I was like, okay, this is coming with me. Oh, right, okay. There's 2 books in here. This is thick. This is I Shall Awaken by Katerina Sardica. This is actually for my rabbit vlog in August. But the other book is And Then I Woke Up by Malcolm Devlin, which is a novella. This is blurbed by 2 of my favorite authors, so I just had to get it. The world is reeling from an unusual plague, and we're following a character in a rehabilitation facility. Who knows? So 2 weird novellas this weekend. That's what we're up to. And then I'll see if I find anything in some bookstores, because what I also thought I would do is a little horror weird try a chapter tag tomorrow. I'm also going to explore what books are in the Airbnb, maybe there's something on the shelves I could give a try. But I grabbed some things that I want to try the first chapter with you and just give you my first impressions. So I'll talk these through later. Let's continue our drive. The boys have stopped at my favorite place in Grand Forks called Jitters. Move, you're blocking the building. I'm trying to show them. Thank you for my where did you go?
That's smooth.
Wow, don't refer to people as dumpy dump. This is truly the best blended chai
Out there.
in existence. But it's 2 hours from home, so.
This is truly the best s'mores milkshake.
DQ's everywhere.
So?
Still the best.
Cool.
Oh my gosh, it's Pete. Here we are. This is our dome. It's right next to the river, which is spooky because I read the first chapter of the book while we were driving, and it starts out with a horse and a boy going to the river, and something horrible happens to them at the river that kicks off the whole plot. Look how pretty.
Oh yeah.
Oh my gosh.
Whoa! I found what bed I'm sleeping in.
Liam.
Oh yeah.
Oh hey, we've got chess. Oh my gosh. Oh hey, books. Oh wow. Look how cool it is.
Careful.
Okay, cute. So, we've got a kitchen. We've got a dining area, a living area. Have I mentioned the spooky basement? Deal with that later. First, I need to inspect these books. There's so many. A lot of the classics. Nicholas Sparks, like a Western. James Joyce. Ooh, Ghostland. A Margaret Atwood. This looked like the Goldfinch. It's not. Lots of things on this shelf here. Let's keep moving down. We've got these. I don't know what most of these are, that's for sure. Hey, we've got some Shakespeare. I don't see any spooky stories that would fit for my vibe this weekend, but we have bedtime stories. The Age of Surveillance Capitalism. We've got Kafka. The lighting is not the best right here. Oh my gosh, Ta-Nehisi Coates. I love this book. The Art of War. Okay, so it's safe to say I don't think I'll be reading anything from these shelves because I brought my own, but I dig it. Very cool. Okay, it's been raining. I found another stack of books in here. It's a little like echoey and the stairs are all very creaky and it's night now and I think I've made a mistake. I'm fucking freaked out. First of all, it's talking about worms, but not like literal worms, like in a horror sense. But there's this strange, I'm halfway through, reference to like, they're trying to find something. They're trying to like mentally get back to some type of memory when the worms began. I don't know what the fuck is going on. And there's also like this woman has a daughter and she's talking about like the safe distance to be away from your child. And every time she's like a certain distance away, she like feels this pull and like her child is in danger if she's more than like 25 feet away. And just being like with my child in this dome and him being like down below. I kind of want to stop reading it, but I can't. I need to finish it. Oh my God, I hate it and I love it. Okay, listen, this was incredibly unsettling and I'm giving it 5 stars. It was super weird and not in a way that like feels satisfying by the end. It's just strange the entire time. And there's a lot of like symbolism and loose references that you can, you know, make into whatever you think the book is about. It is a fever dream. Like literally, it's about like kind of illness. It's super hard to explain, but I'm just so happy that this was my 100th book of the year and it was 5 stars. Like this is exactly what I was looking for and I got it and I win. I've just won at life. I really wish I could cover the plot more, but like I don't even know how to describe this. It made me feel so incredibly uncomfortable and like suffocated. Like I couldn't stop reading, but I hated every minute of it. But like the reason you feel unsettled, there's no way to explain why it's unsettling. There's no like big gotcha moment. I was waiting for one, but I kind of felt like there wasn't going to be one, and there wasn't. It was just like the same vibe the entire time. The ending was like really abrupt, but I think good and smart, and I'm scared someone's gonna like walk by this window. Anyway, I'm positively spooked and I think I need to read something nice before I go to sleep. But then tomorrow I'm gonna go do some book shopping and that's the plan right now. So I'll see you then. Good morning, friends. It is a beautiful rainy morning. I just uploaded a video. We did breakfast and I feel like my Goosebumps shirt is the right choice for the atmosphere here. I had a fantastic night's sleep, by the way. The bed, I mean, it's a mess now, but like it was so comfy. It's apparently supposed to start really pouring in the afternoon, so I think we're gonna run into Nelson and just explore, walk around, check out some little stores, hit up a used bookstore. I don't know when I'm gonna read, and then I woke up, but I feel like since I just woke up, I should read some of it now. That just feels right. So before we head out, I'll tell you my first impressions of the, I don't know, first couple chapters. Okay, I read the first 2 chapters, which takes us to 63 pages in. So I'm already more than a third of the way through the story and I'm just getting ready to go. So this concept is fascinating now that I think I understand what's going on. So like imagine being in a zombie apocalypse and having to like kill zombies, and this guy's working at a restaurant and him and his coworker, like one of their coworkers turns into a zombie and they have to like take him down and then take down everybody in the restaurant. But then you find out that the actual like zombie infection that's going on, you have been infected. And like your perception of reality is like the illness, and so everything was perfectly normal around you, but you saw zombies and you killed all of these people. So the book kicks off with him being in this facility and like healing and like confronting what he's done. But then we also get flashbacks to the beginning of this like zombie apocalypse. So I don't know if there's going to be like twists and turns in it, but that's pretty much what the synopsis is saying. I couldn't fully understand what was going on. So no spoilers from here on out, but I'll let you know if there's any like twists and turns. Or it's not unsettling. It's weird for sure, but it's not like scary, so that's good. Really need some coffee, book shopping. I'll do a little montage. Okay, we walked around. You saw us hit 2 bookstores, one new and one used. They were both very cute, very different vibes. And then a bakery and a candy store. And now we're headed back. I grabbed this, which I don't know what it is, but it sounds weird. And then this, called Out Behind the Barn. And this, called Games Killers Play. Alfred Hitchcock, a series of stories. The one that fits the most appropriate for this trip is probably this. Like, I feel like I should read this in the hot tub. I really hope the river's not too loud for you to hear me. Maybe it is. I don't want to look back on this and regret vlogging outside, even though it's beautiful out here. My final rating of this is a 4. There's like some specific, very little things that it could have done that would have made it a 5. Having just read Fever Dream and knowing how unsettled I can be, even though the plot itself isn't scary, like that's what I wanted from this. I wanted to feel just like super uncomfortable. But it was more of just like an enjoyable storytelling. So there are interesting things that I wouldn't put this in the horror category, neither would I Fever Dream. So whatever we're calling these books, they're in the same kind of vibe, where there's a lot of implied like metaphor for different societal things. So like with Fever Dream, you could say it was about you know, humanity poisoning the environment, and then the poisonings of humanity via the environment. And with this, I think it's talking a lot about humans' obsession with news, negative news, how rampant misinformation is, and how much things can just like consume your thoughts and affect your actual perception of reality. It's definitely more character driven than action based or plot based, so go into it knowing that. I think there's some interesting things left unsaid that you can interpret to be your own thing. It's a very interesting take on a zombie story. I don't typically love zombie stories, so it was cool that I enjoyed this. And that's book number 2 done for the weekend. Time to tell you my 10 favorite things about the dome. Number 1 is not the stairs, because this stair ladder hurts my knees. It's bad for me. Number 1 is this little corner right here. I think it's beautiful. We haven't played chess yet, but this art is absolutely stunning. Number 2 is this radio. I think it's stunning and beautiful. And there's also that little, there's a couple of different little oil lamps around here. It's very cute. Number 3 is this framed design of the dome itself. I just think it's very lovely. Number 4 is obviously the deck. Number 5 though is this little bathtub by the river that when the river's not so high, you can actually enjoy and soak in, and it just looks like such a good time. 6 takes us down to the basement. So it's finally time to enjoy the creaky stairs. But look down here. There's a pool table. There's also a blackjack table. Oh, and then you can keep your score on here. Watch me whoop Liam's butt. Okay, this is my winning shot, everyone. Rats. This is my winning shot, everyone.
Yep.
This is my winning shot, everyone. Oh! Boom! Thank you very much.
We already clicked off the video though.
Yeah, I know. That was a real bummer. Next favorite feature is the trunk to ensure we do not fall down the stairs into the scary basement. Next is the mirror in the bathtub because like why wouldn't you need this? Then of course the projector where Rob's about to put on the hockey game. Favorite thing number 10 is the hot tub. I'm gonna try to read a book in it. Okay, the basement looks really murdery when it's this late at night, and that seems to fit really well with this. The first chapter, oh actually I've read 4 chapters at this point, and I've gotten my book wet. The book kicks off with these 2 boys, and the woman that they live with, is it their mother, is it their captor, I don't know. They see her hauling a body into the barn, and they're like, ooh, we have another one, and it's like, sorry, what? I'm just very intrigued to see where this goes, so I'm gonna keep reading it. In the danger basement. Okay, Liam's asleep, and the acoustics in this place are unreal. Like no matter what floor you're on, you can whisper and everybody can hear you. So just know I finished this. It was fucking weird. And I'm gonna decide my rating as I sleep, and I'll let you know in the morning what I thought, because it was an interesting one. Good morning. Last couple clips, hours of the vlog. We're back in Nelson this morning, and we're stopping at some coffee shops. They have so many coffee shops to choose from. And then we're gonna go for a little walk in the park, and there's some waterfalls. My boys are both pretty banged up. Liam from baseball season, and Rob actually like slipped on our stairs the other day carrying all of our coffees, and he saved my coffee, which was just really beautiful, but he banged his knee really hard. So we're not in a state to do any major like hiking that I feel like we would typically do. So we'll have to come back to the Kootenays another time this summer or next summer to really explore like the outdoor attractions, but we're just hitting up a little park. And my final thoughts about Behind the Barn. This is just like the perfect size of book, and I really respect, I love a novella. This was originally a really short story. That's why it's by 2 authors. So one of them wrote this really short story. He just had this like concept. There's a little author's note in here about, you know, these 2 boys and their mama and them hanging out behind the barn and the things that happen. There is like, it is a farm situation. There's a little bit of like animal stuff, so that's something to be aware of. But then his friend decided to like build out the story a little bit more. I love that it didn't turn into a novel, because I feel like I've read this premise before. I'm trying to categorize it. Paranormal, maybe horror. And it turns into like a bigger story where there then has to be like a conclusion to the story where like there's just more explanation, and sometimes it gets just really long. And I love that instead you're just left with this feeling of, oh, it's over. Like that's how quickly this ended. We only got into these boys' lives for just like a couple days. That's all we got. There's so much to consider, so much backstory that could have been in here. But I just love being left with my own pondering of how we even got to this situation and what this woman is doing and what might happen after the fact, knowing that like this situation could be happening in the world that we live in. Explaining it more than that, no. These fingerprints are extremely unsettling. Would recommend, but I feel like it's kind of an unsatisfying novella. And I know that unsatisfying doesn't sound like a positive. For me, it is, but it might not be for everyone. That's that. I'll show you some clips at the park, waterfall, walking, coffee drinking time we're about to have. Okay, we're not there yet. I haven't gone anywhere, but the boys just brought me back a carrot cake pop, and carrot cake's my favorite treat. And I love it a lot.
That's violent for being in the middle of a city. Good thing we're not standing there. She's getting pummeled by the water.
I'm getting wet.
You're so cute.
I'm gonna read the first chapter of these 5 books and give you my first impressions, and then I'll decide which one I want to read on the drive home. So we've got Kill Creek by Scott Thomas. This is an arc called Not Good for Maidens by Tori Bobolino, which I'm excited about. We have The Twisted Ones by T. Kingfisher. No! Liam dropped his egg. Hide by Kirsten White, which is the Literally Dead book club pick this month, so I'll be reading it regardless anyway soon. And The Between by Tananarive Due. So these are all kind of horror or fantasy, thrilling type things. Anything that I don't finish this month, I'll probably read for the Summer Ween readathon in July. Unless like the first chapter of one of these is awful, and then I'll just ditch it from my TBR entirely. So I'll just let you know as I'm reading what I think of the beginning of each one. Book number 1, I just read the prologue, but I'm intrigued enough already that I feel like this could be my pick. So I'm vaguely versed in the lore of the Goblin Market, but we have a girl named May, and she was in love with a boy, and she's back to like the real world now, but she's having memories of the Goblin Market, what happened to her, the boy she was in love with who's dead now, and she talks about how she can like taste goblin blood. Like she's been really affected obviously by what happened, and now she's back and her sister's dating this boy, and she's just trying to figure out like what her life looks like after this horrific experience. But the synopsis talks about how 17 years later we're following May's niece Lou, who knows nothing about her magical lineage, the twisted streets of the Goblin Market, but the Goblin Market is calling to her just like her aunt. So I don't know. Okay, so we do have chapter 1 is going to be in present day, and then are we going to go back? It looks like 3 chapters later we go back to May's perspective 18 years earlier. So I think this is going to be an interesting one. Next we'll go for Kill Creek, which is almost a Literally Dead book club selection, and then people were telling me that they didn't think that I would appreciate certain things about this. So let me give the first chapter a read. I don't know if I don't know. I'm like somewhat intrigued, but I don't know. I've heard that the way this book treats or speaks about its fat characters sucks. But even in like the prologue talking about the wheelchair bound and confined to a wheelchair woman who now like supposedly haunts the house, I just wonder the conversations that are gonna come up. We got introduced to like why they think the house is haunted, and then in the future a character who's being invited, he's a horror author, into the house on Halloween, and I guess we're gonna get introduced to a bunch of other authors who are all invited there together, and it becomes a fight for survival. Next up, we've got The Twisted Ones. I read The Hollow Places last year and gave it 5 stars, and that's why this author, I just quickly and easily chose her next thing as a Literally Dead book club pick for August, What Moves the Dead. Also, naturally, there's a rabbit on the cover, so that helped. But people have been telling me that I really need to pick this one up. I think I've heard that this one's actually really similar to The Hollow Places, and I don't know if that means like plot-wise or vibes or what. But we have a woman, I think, who's going to clean out her grandma's house after she dies, and then she finds her step-grandfather's journal, and she encounters terrifying things. I don't know. Be right back. Okay, that one was 10 pages. It wasn't particularly interesting. We just got like the introduction of her being asked to go clean out her grandma's house, and a little bit of the backstory of like her grandma and her step-grandfather. I actually think this would be good to listen to on audio, so I hope that there's an audiobook, because it's told very direct to reader, like I'm telling this story for these reasons, and I don't even know why I'm telling you this part, and it's something that I think would be conducive to listening to. So I'll see if that's a thing. On to The Between. Okay, I don't even need to start Hide. I'm going to. Here it is. but this is it. This is the one for me. I haven't read A Tentative Review for I think a year and a half, and I just love her description of things. So in the opening chapter, we got the description of how his Nana died. So it's about this man, and she saved him from drowning, and now he feels like death is following him. And just the way that it was described, like his time in the ocean, how the ocean was like playing with him and the currents were like weren't done with him yet. And then he was talking about how like it felt like the ocean was mocking him. And like anyone who has swam in the ocean knows the feeling of like you're so insignificant, and like this body of water is all powerful and could just take you out so easily. And I just really love the descriptions, so I think this is the one. I will read the first chapter of this though. I think it's just like 2 pages. I love that there's a map. My favorite thing about going to the fair is getting a map and like looking at all of the images and where everything is. But listen, people have been rating this 1 star all week long. So I'm worried, but I'll give it a chapter and just my first feelings about it. I'm reading it regardless, but it's just like, am I reading it right now? Or am I gonna read it the day before the live show? Okay, the opening of this didn't do a lot for me. It just really set up the synopsis. So it's about a girl who has lost her entire family. There was this like ominous moment. She's remembering something her dad said, and then she goes, he also once said, come out wherever you are, dragging the knife along the wall as music to accompany the dying gasps of her sister. So it's talking about how her entire family was murdered when she was younger, and now she lives in a shelter, and somebody just came to her with the opportunity to play hide and seek at an amusement park for like, I think it was $50,000. And she's like, oh, that should be easy because I played hide and seek once, and this time my whole life and family won't be at risk, basically, which is exactly what this kind of says. So that didn't do a lot for me, and now we're gonna learn about the actual rules of the competition. I think it's fine, but of everything that I just read, I think here's where my interest level lies. So I'm going to grab the audiobook and listen to this as we drive home, and check in with me at the end of the month to find out what I thought of any of these other ones and if I got to them. We're home now. I did film an outro at the Dome House because I wasn't planning on reviewing this. These color vibes are just everything. But I did finish it a little bit after the drive home, so I thought I would just let you know that it was like 4.5 stars. And if you liked The Good House, I think you'd like this one. Or I feel like, well, I've only read 2 things for Tana Review, but I just feel like they are the same like vibe. And I feel like you're probably gonna get the same thing from all of her books. Like, I know what to expect from her books. It just had such a good mix of like horror elements, both realistic and supernatural, but then just like real dynamics. So you're just learning about this marriage and this family, and it's kind of a slow burn psychological horror is what I would put her into genre-wise. Anytime a book can elicit an emotion from me, I feel like it has to get a high rating. I was so angry throughout a lot of this book and sad throughout a lot of this book with how Hilton was behaving and treating his family and the choices he was making. But it all makes sense in this weird dream-like reality that he's living in. So there's a lot of dream sequences, and he is doing all of these things, but he can't remember doing them, or he's certain they only happened in a dream. So it's like questioning his mental stability throughout the book. There's a therapist involved who's his friend, and there's really great mental health conversations, and how like friends don't make the best therapists, and he's trying to find him more help outside of just what he's able to offer Hilton. And there's a lot of moments that like come back. I like a cyclical thriller or horror where like you're experiencing a moment, or a moment is referenced and then you get to see it come back later in in an interesting way. I just thought this was really well done. I didn't intend for this to be a full review. I'll talk about it more in my monthly wrap up, but I just wanted to let you know that I did give it a really high rating and I enjoyed it, and I read it during the trip, so it fits for the vlog. And I will see you soon. Thank you so much for watching. Bye.